This is Tony and Robin Susi. We're going to discuss some log technique. Been doing this for about 28 years. Seen a lot of mistakes, a lot of tips and techniques, and we would just like to share some of the basic stuff with you. All right, first we should discuss footwear. You do not want to wear squishy shoes. You don't want to roll an ankle when you're pressing something heavy overhead, right? So my suggestion would be like hiking shoes, which I have wearing right now. It has a little bit of a heel, you know, or better yet, if you have like an Olympic lifting shoe or some sort of trainer that has a elevated heel, kind of a hard sole, these are the types that really help you out. Next is the option for a belt or not. I personally do not like to wear a belt whenever I do a log clean and press. I've got my old natural one right here. Belts do come in handy, you know, for some people. Just be mindful if you do wear a belt, a hard belt that is, wearing the buckle to the front will actually push the log out further and making it a less efficient lift. A soft belt is probably the best option. So grip shirts, another option. I'm old school. I don't really like the grip shirts. However, if you believe you need a grip shirt, are you really a strong man? Just saying. But if you do believe you need one, go ahead and use one. I don't like them personally. So what I do is I just use old-fashioned chalk. I just kind of rub it on the chest if I need to. It kind of creates a lot of friction for the log to ride up the torso. Seems to work very fine. But pants or shorts would probably be the next thing to be considered. Don't wear anything slick, you know, like a polyester or a nylon short, silky lingerie.
Satin pajama set.
That's exactly, nothing like that. You don't want anything sliding off of your lap. I actually prefer to compete and train at times in jeans. I get an awful lot of weird looks at contests. Actually, the jeans do provide a lot of friction, right? So they work really well for the clean, for the log, and also for stone lifting. So the stance, the proper stance for log lifts, you don't want to go too wide, right? Because you won't have enough power. You don't want it too narrow, like this, because you won't be able to press efficiently. You want to be more shoulder width apart. What you want to do is you want to imagine arrows coming from your feet up your legs. And if they can point straight into the ceiling, that is the optimal position for your feet. Also, you want your feet slightly flared out, right? So if your feet are pointing forward, like so, what happens is when you go to do a push press and you have tight ankle flexion, most likely your butt will go back, the log will fall forward. If you angle your feet out, that actually frees up the hips somewhat. And so with your feet angled out, you're actually able to rise and lower with a more upright torso, hence more efficient lift. You're transferring all that power from the lower body through the torso into the implement. So you basically keep more of an upright torso from that power position to the extension. You want to grip dead center, right? I see this in a lot of contests where athletes go to the front or to the back. That's not, the leverage works against you that way, right? You want to be as efficient as you possibly can on all of these lifts. So dead center is where you want to be, right here. All right. For the clean, you do not want to start with the handles parallel with the floor. When you go to clean it, if your handles are parallel to the floor, you go to clean it, you get it in this position, you're going to have a hard time rolling it up your chest. It's going to be more of a curl. The biceps are a smaller muscle group. You're not going to be able to clean nearly as much. So, be more efficient with the clean. There's two ways that you can clean this log. Both ways you should have the handles angled down. So when you get the log into your lap, the handles are parallel with your femur or your thigh, right? The first method is where people will deadlift it, then squat down and clean it, like so. They'll deadlift it, then they'll squat down, and they'll roll it up their chest, right? That works. The method that I prefer is where you squat down, you kind of row it, stiff leg it, row it in your lap so you don't deadlift it. You dip down like that. The reason I prefer that method is if you're going to be doing a clean and press for reps, full clean, full press for reps, you're going to be wasting time on every single rep by deadlifting like that. So if you get to the habit of rowing it, getting it in your hips, doing the second pull, that's way more efficient. Once the log is clean to your shoulder, you have to be mindful of your elbows. A lot of people do is they have their elbows fairly low, down like this with the log, or even a barbell or an axle for that matter. If your elbows are down like that, the log is pushed forward onto your torso, so it's laying down here. Do that, you try to press it overhead, everything will go forward, it's a total disaster. So what you want to do is you want to raise up your elbows a little bit, you know, roughly about right there. And I'll do the clean and you can see my elbows here in a moment. You don't want them super high, you don't want them super low. The clean, so right here, this seems, for me anyway, like a good elbow position. I have a log on my shoulders. If I lower my elbows, it's on my chest, right? I cannot get any leg drive if the log is on my chest, but I can get leg drive if I have it racked on my shoulder. The overhead. So there's different variations of the overhead. One is you have the strict press, the push press, the power jerk, and then the split jerk. We'll probably go over those 4 different styles in a future video. We'll just do a quick review of them right now. So what I'll do is I'll just do, with the exception of the split jerk, because I'm not as efficient with that right now, but I'll do the strict press, push press, and power jerk in succession. That'll give you an idea of what it looks like. And then you clean, strict press, head through at the top, push press, initialize with the legs, power jerk is where you catch it in the bottom position. Regardless of what style you use to press overhead, remember, lock it out. Even in training, you want to get into that habit of locking out, right? You do not want to get into the habit of doing half reps. You know, that you don't want to be half repping it, all right? You want to lock it out, get your head through. You don't want to be like this. You want your head through, and at least have your head towards the judge. Wait for the signal. Wait for the signal in the contest. If you do not wait for the signal, chances are you're not going to get the rep.
0.
Lastly, consider breathing and bracing. You don't necessarily know how to breathe when you're lifting, right? So breathing and bracing is a little bit different than, you know, trying to do the dishes or sit on the toilet. So I'll just touch on this briefly. We're planning on possibly doing a breathing bracing video later. So for the breathing and bracing for the log, some people can get away with, once they get the log to their shoulder, you breathe all day fairly easily. I'm not a big guy. I put any significant amount of weight on my shoulder in this rack position, I can't breathe, right? So what I need to do is I need to take in a big breath just before I get into the clean portion, and then once I lock it out, I'll just let out a little bit of air, and then tighten back up and brace for my next rep, if I'm doing a next rep. Do what works best for you. We are planning on doing another video. There'll be log accessories, so there might be some exercises that you're familiar with, some that you may not be familiar with.
Well, thanks so much for stopping by on another one of our videos. We're going to plan on making a whole lot of these. So if there's anything in particular that you would like to see, go ahead and drop them down in the comments. Like, subscribe, and then you won't miss out on any of the stuff that we're doing here. If you want any more information about us, training, equipment, shirts, go ahead and go to onewaystrength.com. I think that's it.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
No offense to the shirt guys. Every day I know how to breathe.
Try that again.
Okay.